Hey,
Hello,
everybody.
everybody. So
What's
I
good?
actually love watching the beginning of the show because Crystal put up together the most best ever introduction. I just love it.
Well, thank you.
It's so amazing. All right. I just love it. Okay, so we're going to get through your testimony pretty quickly today because we got a lot to talk about and we got a special guest today. So
Right.
please introduce yourself and tell us exactly why we do Wellness Wednesday.
Well, I'm Crystal Dominguez, and I'm a holistic health coach and
Mhm.
an herb specialist. And years ago, basically, I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis and inflammatory bowel disease. It's like one step down from Crohn's. A lot of people know about Crohn's.
Mhm.
And it basically got me on my deathbed a couple times in my life. One when I was 18, one when I was 24. 24 was really bad. Got down to 97 pounds, was hospitalized for several days. We talked about chemo, prescriptions, surgery, all these things. And I just felt like at 24, that wasn't for me. So I had to talk with our naturopathic doctor, who is Dr. Inga Wetzel, and she taught me diet, lifestyle, nutrition, all these things. And I was like, I need to learn and know everything. And because I felt like that was the answer, because before I knew it worked before, I just wasn't serious about it. This time around,
Mhm.
I was like, I've got a 2-year-old. I need to know things. I need to
Yeah.
know how to help myself because surgery, chemo, all that stuff, being on medications for the rest of my life, that like the doctor said, saying it was an incurable disease was something that was just did not fit well with
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
So I did what she said. I learned and I learned. I got certified for things. I dug deep and I started helping others, because I knew that once my body started healing, and doctors, they can't explain why, but it's through diet, lifestyle, nutrition,
Yeah.
working with your emotions, different things like that, and exercise, all kinds of stuff, dealing with stress, sleep. And once I figured that out, I was like, man, I've got to help everybody else do this. And so Kathy and I have the same mindset where, we want to help people, teach them holistic approaches to health, non-invasive ways to help your body, through food,
Mhm.
diet, exercise, nutrition, all those things. And we know when you're green inside, you're clean inside. So we're gonna we love that motto, and because the more greens you eat, the more you're helping your body and your immune system, for that matter. And that's what we're going to kind of talk about today, and that's why
Mhm.
we do Wellness Wednesdays, because we've all been somewhere before, and natural holistic approaches have helped us, and we want to share it with you.
Like I said, we're going back to basics. We're getting out of the chemical life, which is all medicines. Every medicine out there is a chemical, you guys. There's not a
Mhm.
natural medicine out there that you get from the pharmacy. So just
Right.
know that you're taking chemicals. You're not taking anything. And with holistic living, it is a lifestyle. It's not all of a sudden you're going to feel better. Sometimes, though, some things you feel it better immediately, but it is a lifestyle. You got to keep it going. And trust me, I know we're going to talk about me in a minute because I reverted back to eating, cheese. I was eating cheese, 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 cheese. And oh my God, couldn't breathe in the mornings. Excuse me, pains, aches, inflammations back. And I'm like, oh my God, Crystal was right. No, I'm kidding.
You
She's
know
going to
it.
get me. I know.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, I went back to eating like I mean I ate just went back to eating bad. And when I did that, all kind of stuff started having pains that I had forgotten was there, came back, and it was like, this is why it went away because you were eating clean. So trust me, I'm back to my eating cleanness now because I don't want to do that. But all right, so let's please get Dr. Hollis on. Yay,
Right
Dr.
on to the screen. Hi, Dr.
Hollis!
Hollis. Thank you for joining us today. We appreciate your time. Oh, I'm so excited.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I bothered him while he was away getting more knowledge. I don't know how any
Yes,
more knowledge can fit in that head of yours. I'm just saying.
it's a miracle, and it was 10 days worth.
I tell you, man. All right, so today we are going to talk about the immune system, you guys, and I got some questions to ask about that. The first one is, what exactly is the immune system? We talk about it all the time. Some people know, some people don't. So for those who don't know, Dr. Hollis, what is the immune system? And then, Crystal, how can we boost it with our herbs and uh, clean living?
Mhm.
Clean eating is what I want to say.
Yeah.
Well, that's a very big topic. I will try to summarize in a couple of sentences. But the key thing, the fundamentals that I like to teach people is that it's not actually a real system like we think of as the body has
Okay.
systems. It is not a self contained organ related system where it has a defined origin and ending. The immune system is actually built up of trillions of individual cells that are not attached to any
Mhm.
specific part of our body. They are not part of an organ system per se, and they free float throughout your entire body, every tissue, every bone, every blood vessel, and they are the first and only line of defense to actually keep you alive and to keep you healthy. Even your organs won't survive if your immune system is faulty, which is where things like AIDS, which is autoimmune deficiency
Mhm.
syndrome, is so dangerous because it has a death sentence at the end of it.
Mhm.
So we talk about the importance of having a good immune system, but it's way more than just important. It's vital. And most people completely ignore it or forget about it.
Now, Dr.
Unless,
Hollis, real quickly, the one thing that I've always been told is when women are pregnant and they have children and they breastfeed their children, the first form of the immune system for the baby is
Breastfeeding, the colostrum.
breastfeeding them and the
Mhm.
colostrum. So tell me about that.
well, actually, that's second. I want to point out something
Okay.
extremely important.
Okay.
The baby is sterile inside the womb with the placenta.
Mhm.
But the baby's first exposure to immune system is supposed to occur through a normal, natural vaginal
Mhm.
delivery.
Mhm.
They are
Mm.
supposed to be colonized in their mouth, in their eyes, in their ears, and in all of their other
Wow.
orifices with the bacteria and
Right.
fungi and all of the viruses that the mother carries in the birth canal.
Yep.
And a lot of people forget that that's why people today are so sick and they have so many autoimmune diseases, including
Because of cesareans?
if they were born cesarean. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
with the cesarean rate at almost 50% now, which is unbelievable, it is really, really getting harder for doctors to treat these
Whew.
patients
Just got
because they
chills.
don't even they don't think about their birth. And even if someone tells them, like me, that I have concerns about their microflora and their colonization of good or bad bacteria, they still don't understand that it started all the way back then.
Yeah.
We
Mm.
treat a lot of leaky gut syndrome and childhood food allergies, which we've talked about
Mhm.
before, but it's becoming more and more rampant in children, way more than I even anticipated even 10 years ago in my practice.
Right.
So, to answer your question, the second exposure is by the actual skin of the areola. That is their
Okay.
second exposure to good quality bacteria. And then the third exposure is in the breast milk in the form of antibodies and colostrum.
Mhm.
Colostrum is a necessary ingredient for you to maintain a good immune system and for you to start one as a baby. And here's
Right.
the thing most people forget. Once you wean from your mother, assuming that you were breastfed, which is very
Mhm.
important,
Mhm.
once you wean, you're not going to get colostrum anymore unless a doctor or someone provides it to you in a nutritional supplement.
So
Right.
I was told that the colostrum was only the first 3 days. According to you, that's not correct.
It
So
is
the
almost 100% of the breast milk in the first 3 days.
Okay. But then it's still within the breast milk even after that?
Correct.
Okay.
you know why they say to put the baby on skin to skin contact when they're sick or have more, it helps the breast milk, but it helps the mother's body knows when the
Mm-hmm.
baby is ill, when the lips touch the areola and everything, the mother's body knows to make more colostrum when the
Right.
baby is sick. So you'll see if you are a breast pumping mom, I noticed this too when because I breastfed Alexis.
Mm-hmm.
When she didn't feel well, you would see more yellow in the milk, and that's more colostrum. And then some days it was more light, like just white milk, and there wasn't hardly much in there. but it knows when the baby is fighting something. So the mother's body tends to make more colostrum for the baby in that time.
That's crazy. I think that is amazing.
We also recommend co-sleeping and co-bathing skin to skin all throughout a child's life until at least age 3 or 4, because that will stimulate their own immune system and the mother's as well.
I did co-sleep. I co-slept for a very long time.
I did too. I co-slept, but I didn't do the other two. Wow. Okay, so that wasn't even on. That's great, you guys. I think that is amazing. That's why we're having so many. I had a young lady that I spoke to, and she was very upset that her son has so many allergies. But I don't know if he was a cesarean baby or not. But that's. Is there any way of even fixing that problem? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know if you want me to or him, which one of us to elaborate on that.
It doesn't matter, Chani.
You go for it, Crystal. I was just going to say they need to call one of the two of us.
Yeah, right. That's for sure. Well, I'll let Dr. Hollis here talk about chiropractic adjustments possibly for the immune system too, like later on. But I was going to mention that a good probiotic is really good for the immune system and clearing up like skin issues and different things, because most of our immune system, about almost 80% of our immune system is in our gut. So what we feed it, what if there's more bad bacteria, obviously we're going to have a weakened immune system. We're going to have an overgrowth of possibly yeast and bad bacteria in the gut. And that can create a weakened immune system. But if we have more good bacteria, more probiotics, and we're eating the right vegetables and stuff and prebiotic fiber to feed all that, having the right diet, then we strengthen our immune system. And our good probiotics tell all the organs in our body like what to do. So if you have more bad bacteria, then those bad bacteria are telling your organs what to do, and you don't want that. So you want more good.
Brain.
And your brain, exactly, because it's a gut-brain connection. So when you have more bad bacteria, you could have more signs of like anxiety, depression, things like that, and beyond a weakened immune system,
So all of it ties together. The depression and all that ties into the bad diet and bad sleeping habits and things like that. Okay.
Yep.
So something Crystal said, she said it really fast. I want to repeat it. You have to have prebiotic nutrients in your gut for the good bacteria that we call probiotics to survive and live. And the main one comes in the form of soluble fiber. If you don't eat fiber in your diet, you're not just going to have the classical problems of constipation and things like that. You're going to have dysbiosis, which is the bad imbalance of the bad bacteria outweighing the good bacteria.
Right.
So things like inulin and chicory and fructooligosaccharides are very important for those good bacteria.
And
anything with fiber, crucifix vegetables, he's all correct about all that.
And by the way, you guys, he was not speaking another language.
Right. See, when you feed the bad bacteria, you're eating sugar, lots of sugar in your diet, lots of carbs. You're doing lots of caffeine. Coffee, things that are acidic. You are feeding the bad bacteria by eating and drinking those things. Alcohol, sodas out there, soda pop, all that. You're feeding that bad bacteria, and that's what helps it to grow. And dairy is a big one. Dairy creates that mucus, that inflammation. It's feeding the bad bacteria as well. And it's causing inflammation. So, and a lot of times people can eliminate their allergies by eliminating dairy.
I'm gonna tell you guys what. When I went back to just being bad for a little bit, waking up in the morning, sneezing and snotting, and I'm like, what in the world? Yes, and the beautiful thing about it though is I know how to fix it. So yay! But oh my goodness! And not only that. Pain came back. Pains in the lower back, pains in the upper back, pain in the back. Pain in the knees, pains in my feet.
Right. Because we don't typically digest dairy. A lot of people are like, oh, I'm not lactose intolerant. Well, when you eat dairy for so long, you don't really know your true response to that. And when you take it
Right.
out of diet for about 21 days and you finally add it back in, that will be your true response to dairy.
Yes.
And you'll know
That's
then.
right.
But it creates that inflammation response, and we can't digest it. And what we don't digest turns into acid in the body, creating more inflammation. That's where disease swells, is an acidic environment. So that's another reason why we don't want dairy in the diet, is because it's too acidic and disease dwells in an acidic state.
Well, and more importantly than that, we don't ever digest the other constituents of dairy. Lactose is just one of those things.
Correct.
The
There's
whey
mucus.
protein and the casein protein are much more dangerous.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that is simply, yes.
So
Well, and
explain
here's
that. Like, what is that?
the protein structure that makes dairy milk separate from other types of mammal milk are proteins that our body are reactive to automatically, even if you don't overeat cheese or overdrink milk. But the most important thing is they are proteins that we can't digest. And proteins are what your immune system is trained to recognize as foreign invaders.
That's
So
right.
whenever you see casein or whey in your digestive tract, or worse, if it gets into your bloodstream, that's what your immune system is attacking. And that's
Mm-hmm.
where you get chronic inflammation or systemic inflammation, which is why your pain and arthritis comes back. But more importantly, it's where autoimmune disease comes in. As Crystal was saying, your immune system now starts targeting your cells as well as the cells that you ate or get exposed to.
Right.
That is so
Yeah.
amazing
So
to
in a
me.
healthy diet that consists of more like veggies and fruits, those contain a lot of, those are enzymes. There's enzymes in those. That's why they decay.
Okay.
That's why they rot, over time. And when it's organic, of course, they rot a lot faster because they're not filled with all those chemicals to keep them sustaining. And all those enzymes are basically dead once those chemicals are in there. You got to understand that the most enzymes it will have is right when it's picked off the tree or the vine.
Right.
But if you have a diet,
Right before it goes into the rotten, right? Right
right,
before it gets, yeah.
well, just make sure that you're eating more fruits and veggies in your diet, and there you're going to get more enzymes. You're going to get more fiber. Fiber helps feed those good probiotics. And you want like superfoods, like there's chia seeds, flax, all kinds of stuff that you can do, hemp seeds, different things. Just get a lot of nutrition in your diet with lots of superfoods.
Well, I like the fact that that Dr. Hollis, I was going to call you Pastor again, that you said that the immune system is not a system; it is throughout the entire body. That's kind of important for people to know. I thought that it was, just we always say immune system.
Exactly.
That's all I hear is immune system. So I'm thinking that it's a well-oiled machine in there that's just an organism that, who thought that it was going throughout the entire body. So that's important to know.
You do have a lymphatic system, and that is a big part of your immune system, a big
Yes.
part. And there's lymphatics. There's parts of your lymphatic system throughout your entire body. Glands,
Yes.
different areas. Even in your appendix, you have part of your lymphatics are in there. So when you exercise, for instance, you start moving those lymphatics, and you start helping your immune system filter out those toxins that are in those fat cells. And then if you drink water, you're help flushing that out and hydrate, help your cells transport nutrients better when you're hydrated as well. So,
Wow.
Correct.
So, Dr. Hollis, what did you learn while you were away from us?
We learned a lot. The entire symposium was all about the immune system and fighting off chronic infectious diseases. And of course, COVID-19 was a major part of that.
Oh, yeah.
But also post-COVID syndrome or any of the other problems that are occurring afterwards, including fatigue and chronic fatigue syndrome. One of the most important things that we actually talked at length about is a lot of people talk about chronic fatigue syndrome. But what they don't know is that is more of a slang term that doctors have learned to use because patients have read it on the internet. The actual medical diagnosis is referred to as myalgic encephalomyelitis. ME for short. It's often called MECFS. And the reason that's important is if you catch the Latin root words in the medical term, encephalo means brain and spinal cord, and myelitis refers to the myelin sheath in your brain and spinal cord, and also the myelin that's part of your connective tissue in all the soft tissues and the hard tissues of your body, which means it can affect any tissue, any bone, any part of your body, but also your brain and your central nervous system, which controls everything else. So chronic fatigue syndrome is literally a post-infection infection that's running through your entire body, causing havoc to your immune system, and it can't keep up with it. So you constantly lose the war, and it gets worse and worse and worse. And so,
I was just going to mention that usually when people come in with chronic fatigue syndrome, I usually help them with viral herbs, because viral herbs and enzymes tend to clear that up pretty quickly, actually. Because viruses
we talked about chronic Epstein-Barr virus, which is the mononucleosis virus that almost everybody carries their entire life.
And the shorter word of that is mono, everybody. It's just mono. But go ahead.
Yes. But what people don't understand is that virus is part of the herpes family, which is the same as chickenpox, which later can become shingles. So you can reactivate mono at any time in your life if you have a pregnancy, or you have a high stress job, or you have a divorce, or you move to a new city. Those things can trigger, and Epstein-Barr is extremely dangerous, and it will live inside your organs, particularly the liver, lungs, and kidneys, in that order. And so people that are succumbing to other viruses like COVID or the flu or even the common cold, it's because they've already been losing a bigger viral battle for years or even decades of their life. And so you get a stacking effect of one virus making the next one worse. And then all of a sudden they have asthma and bronchitis and pneumonia. And then the hospital says that COVID caused them to die of pneumonia, when it wasn't. It was the Epstein-Barr they had for 40 years that nobody treated. And so that's a big major part of a lot that we speak about, not just at this seminar, but many others as well.
Wow.
And so, okay, so Crystal, I was asked you earlier about inflammation in the body. We talk about that, like, so what is that? I mean, tell me what inflammation in the body is.
Well, I think Dr. Hollis had a good explanation of it when we were talking earlier, but it's a little inflammation. It's a response to damaged tissue, basically, and your body is going to usually repair it, or it could, and also bacteria, viruses, and fungi, that enter in our body, they can damage tissue as well, because if it's like, I call a foreign invader or whatever, basically, that's entering your body has like this army, which is your immune system, and it comes to attack it, because if it sees, oh, is this a bacteria? Is this a virus? Is this a fungus? What should we do? And if it sees, oh, it's a bacteria in this case, let's say, it's going to go send it the bacteria warrior, and go to try to defeat that. And then, sometimes it just gets out of hand, and our body is not able to completely fight that off. And then there's another immune response where we have our immune memory. It could have been something that we've had similar or before, and it sees it, and it's like, oh, I know what to do for that. So it already has the antidote, and it goes right there, and it like kills it right away, basically. So you're not sick as long, or you don't get sick at all, possibly. But it's just like, I look at it like an army, like in the body. That's what I look at the immune system. And inflammation is just something that enters the body that could be mucus. Mucus creates inflammation in the body. Acidity in the body creates inflammation. It starts damaging tissues and cells. Different things.
Well, and
so 9 times. Go ahead.
Sorry, Crystal mentioned chemicals earlier, and pharmaceutical drugs being chemicals. That will cause inflammation too, because they automatically damage you, even if you are wanting them to do something for you.
Especially the liver and kidneys, like you were talking about earlier.
Right. You have to understand, I'm treating a patient right now in his 50s that appears to be completely healthy, other than a couple small little things. And on his blood work, we saw abnormal white blood cell counts, but for no reason. He wasn't sick, and he made the decision to have me dig deeper as his internal medicine doctor, and we came back with hepatitis A, and he's only 52, and his liver is almost completely destroyed. And guess what? He has the world's biggest case of Epstein-Barr that I've ever seen. His count was so high, the laboratory stopped counting at 600, and the score is supposed to be less than 0.8. 0.8 is negative. Over 0.8 is positive, and they stopped counting at 600.
Wow.
And we did a CAT scan of his liver, and his liver is so big that it's hanging down all the way below his pelvic bone, down here where his appendix would be.
That's gotta be so painful.
He had no idea.
No idea? Wow, I thought it would be painful.
And that's one of the cardinal signs of inflammation. Your brain will ignore it because it thinks it's supposed to be there, so it won't hurt necessarily. But when I touched it, when I did an exam, he almost jumped off the table in sharp stabbing pain, but he didn't feel any pain until I touched it. So that's one of the reasons we tell everyone to get a full body physical exam every year. If you're not married or have someone who can do an exam for you at home, you have to ask the doctor to do it.
Yeah.
And so I didn't mean to take up some time, but that really hit my heart all of a sudden, because if I hadn't insisted on blood work as part of his annual checkup, because a lot of doctors don't, or if he wasn't a wellness patient who said yes to me offering to run his blood work, he could have passed out dead in his sleep, or worse, he drives a big truck. He could have passed out while he was driving a truck.
Wow.
So, yes, I'm not going to say that we saved his life, but he has said that multiple times now. And so
there is some remedy to that then.
Yes, we can reverse it mostly. He is a late stage case, but almost all hepatitis is reversible. The liver is a very resilient organ, but it needs help. It needs help.
Yeah, for sure.
Wow.
The other thing Crystal said, the immune system is supposed to create inflammation if there's new tissue damage or injury to the body. It's a naturally occurring feature, which is why your brain ignores it at the beginning. But if the problem or the injury does not go away, or if it's recurring, then the inflammation becomes chronically produced. That becomes chronic inflammation, and now you go past the acute phase and you get into the chronic phase. And that same beneficial inflammation and those enzymes will now become dangerous and will start to destroy the healthy, normal tissue in your body.
So inflammation and immune system seems like they go together.
They are,
and one can damage the other, or cause the other not to work as well, or make the other one work worse.
Right, and the inflammation process is part of how your immune system helps defend you and heal you.
Right. I just want to talk about some things, that can help your immune system, because if you're having like problems with it.
Absolutely.
I have a whole list.
Right. There's so many things that we could talk about. I think like what I mentioned earlier was like eating more veggies and fruit to your diet, having lots of super greens and things. That's very helpful for your immune system. It helps natural detoxification. It helps the liver, helps kidneys, helps everything kind of detoxify on its own. It helps alkalize. Greens are very alkalizing, so that helps anti-inflammatory markers. And then getting, an adequate amount of sleep. I know a lot of us all around the world don't get sleep for many different reasons, but sleep is when you hit heal. It's when your brain has the time to detox. So that's super important. And, we always have remedies for those we can talk about, another time. That's a lot sleep is a big thing to talk about, so we won't get into that too much. But then exercise, that's really important, because like I said, that's helps move your lymphatics, helps get those toxins out of the fat cells, because toxins store in fat cells. And exercising it helps move that along and get that out, and drinking plenty of water for natural detoxification as well. to flush all that out. And then another thing is what people don't know is your body listens to your thoughts. So your immune system listens to that. So if you're always upset, angry, or whatever, you're probably more sickly, possibly. But if you have more joy in your life, if you're more grateful for things, they say people journaling about 15 to 20 minutes a day, 4 days a week is very helpful, and meditating, because being grateful helps people with heart problems. Even there was a study done with a guy who had, just had heart disease and heart attack, heart failure. And he started journaling after that every day, and it started improving his heart function, started pumping better. It started, just overall just helping his heart. So something we can do is journal and be grateful and talk about the things that we're grateful for every day.
Well, and I know that we have things on our website that people can go to and absolutely read things on our website about that. And I know I wanted to talk to Doctor about the vitamins, well, mostly Crystal on this one, the vitamins and the herbs. And one of them was mushrooms.
Mushrooms, absolutely, because they have a lot of
let's talk
vitamin
about
E.
that.
Yeah. I'm just going to mention
Vitamin E or vitamin A?
Well,
or
they
both?
have vitamin D as in dog.
Dog. Okay.
Is the main one. That's a sunshine vitamin. That's the vitamin that helps the immune system a lot, helps you even absorb and helps with your probiotics even. So vitamin D is very important for that, even just 10 minutes a day out in the sun.
And for cholesterol too, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, what the sun does when you're out in the sun, it takes your cholesterol and it converts it into vitamin D. So your body has to be able to do that too. So it has to be healthy to function and be able to do all those things as well. So yeah, trying to think what else. Oh yeah, mushrooms, cordyceps. Cordyceps are really important. I look at that like Pac-Man in a way. You know how Pac-Man goes in there and he eats up all the like things that are in there. It's basically, I call that debris. So cordyceps go in there and basically clean up the debris left over. So if you take a lot of enzymes, the enzymes will help break down those undigested proteins, those spike proteins that are in there from the viruses and stuff. And then you get cordyceps, and those go in there and help your immune system like clean all that up.
Trash compactor.
Yeah, basically. So yeah, mushrooms.
So there are two different types of mushrooms, you guys. One is for medicinal reasons, and the other one is why. But the mushrooms that, well. Yeah, they're different medicinal. But yeah, the mushrooms that we're talking about are for medicinal reasons, and I think you can make them out of teas. You can put them in capsules. You can, I think, if I'm not mistaken, also smoke them. I don't know. I don't smoke. I don't do any of that stuff. But not that one.
Don't use combustion for any herbs or nutrients.
I wouldn't because mushrooms have a fungi and they could create spores in the lungs and stuff. So I would not smoke mushrooms.
Gotcha.
Even if they're medicinal, you never know what kind of bacteria was on those mushrooms when they were growing. And you don't want the spores exposed to your lungs. I would not say that's a good idea.
Now, for the record, cordyceps mushrooms have been researched very heavily for treating viral infections, including COVID-19 and what we call post-COVID syndrome or long-haul COVID for the after effects in your body. But more specifically, they treat all viruses, including Epstein-Barr and chickenpox, which is varicella zoster, and the flu and the common cold and a bunch of other things. I do want to mention that trying to find cordyceps as a whole mushroom is extremely expensive. So we prefer to recommend the extract of a specific sub-ingredient. That sub-ingredient, also known as a cofactor, is called CS4. So that's the cordyceps abbreviated and then the subtype number 4. CS4 is the one we recommend as an extract for using cordyceps, especially if you think you've had COVID and you're having post-COVID symptoms that have come along afterwards. That one works great.
I know women talk about their hair shedding. I don't know about the guys, but most women talk about their hair shedding. So I'm hoping that will help as well with that. Crystal, I know you had something about a book that you wanted to read out of, or did you still want to do that?
Yeah, sure. So I have a book that talks about cordyceps, and kind of just gives people an idea, like what are cordyceps and what are they good for, basically. So I'm going to go ahead and just read those off real fast.
Okay.
All right, so cordyceps may well be one of the most therapeutically active medicinal plants in Chinese medicine. So Chinese medicine, I think, is really important. Cordyceps is an ancient Chinese tonic herb that has been used as a traditional medicine to combat fatigue, enhance vitality, and promote longevity. It has a warm, sweet flavor and is used as a tonic and astringent, expectorant, anti-asthmatic, and sedative. Cordyceps it's a rare, highly prized edible fungus mushroom that in the wild grows on a larva of certain caterpillar, hence the common name Chinese caterpillar fungus. Although once restricted for use exclusively in the emperor's palace in the late 1970s, the Chinese government began an extensive research campaign to find alternate means of cultivating the highly prized and now protected herb. So that's kind of important, like I feel like in history in China, where cordyceps, they're regarded as nothing short of anti-aging miracle. So it goes back to date for years and years, you know, in the Chinese medicine, and it's you can just see where it's grown from and everything. How you would think, how could that be medicinal when it's grown like as a fungus and caterpillar larva?
Because the Lord made it. I mean,
Right.
he knows what he's doing.
Most fermented ingredients and most beneficial things that God made were grown from something else.
That's right.
I
That's
mean,
right.
you know where we get penicillin from, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, not that I would promote antibiotics, but it was a naturally occurring substance.
Yes, it was.
Before they pharmaceuticalized it.
Mm-hmm. What I love, Dr. Hollis, is that the doctors are getting on board. They're beginning to understand what exactly Crystal and I've been preaching forever. And doctors that we know, like you, Dr. Hollis, actually, we've been preaching this stuff forever. And I love you wanting to know more about it. But yeah, we've been wanting the doctors to get on board. It is imperative that they do, actually.
Right.
So that why do we call holistic alternative? Because the persons that are mainstream are not getting it. So I love that it's beginning to be a whole, holistically now, maybe back into the medical field, and maybe they're getting better knowledge of nutrition and what herbs can do in fungi, because that's exactly what a mushroom is fungus. So,
Right.
but yeah, that's exciting. It's exciting. Go ahead.
Yeah, I did want to say one more thing about cordyceps, though, before we like defer from there, is that cordyceps help bring oxygen to the lungs. So just know that, you know, with certain types of things that you're fighting, if you're having a hard time breathing, possibly, that cordyceps might be good for you because they help bring that oxygen to the lungs.
That's great.
Yeah, I've often said my mother passed away of lung cancer because she was a smoker since she was the age of 9. She needed her behind whipped. But she was a bad girl. But back then, that's just what they did, though. I mean, it was just what they did. And I wish that I knew then what I know now, because I think that we could have prolonged her being here a little longer than just not giving up, but letting things happen.
My dad did the exact same thing. He started at age 11 and he only made it to 67. So
yeah,
I lost him when I was very young. That's why I'm adamant about teaching my anti-smoking or smoking cessation program here. Not talking about it today, but it does involve the immune system and a bunch of psychological factors as well. So that's a very important subject for me, is helping people with stopping smoking. Crystal, do you want me to give you my list of the other immune system boosting?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I love that.
I have a big list. It's about 14. I didn't prepare them in specific order, but they are pretty much ranked as most important, cordyceps being at the very top. But a lot of people forget about colostrum. We've already talked about colostrum.
Right.
The next one is glutathione,
Oh,
which
yes.
one of the only antioxidants that your immune system can use to fight inside your brain.
Yeah.
I want to mention that you should always use liposomal form of glutathione. We can talk about that later. Honey is a really close top of the list. People forget that honey is automatically an immune system booster in a bottle, and you really can't overdose on honey. So that's
But does it raise your sugar index?
Not necessarily. It does not have a super high glycemic index that you might think.
Just make sure that you're eating it like in moderation, of course, you know, like look at the serving size, and if it says a teaspoon or a tablespoon, whatever it is, make sure you're not consuming more than that, you know, that you're just consuming that amount.
I just always thought that it spiked my sugar index. I didn't know, so I stayed away from honey. But if it's good for me, I will bring it back into my life. Trust me.
You can add some cinnamon to it, and cinnamon.
Oh, I can do a lot with honey. I just decided not to deal with it because I thought that it was, you know, so sweet.
Well, cinnamon
I figured it was
cute,
you know.
Right.
Oh, I know.
It actually helps regulate blood sugar. Just don't eat the whole bottle, okay, Kathy?
It is too sweet. Okay, go ahead, doctor.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
It is
finished.
Make sure you buy a locally sourced honey from the flowers and the plants in your local area.
Okay.
That helps with allergies and other things like that.
We know somebody that harvests honey. Okay, good.
Give me their phone number.
I will. She would be very happy to do that. Okay.
The next one is NAC. That stands for N-acetyl L-cysteine. It's extremely important, and there is no upper limit on that one. You can take as much of that as you want. That's one of those enzymes that's made from an amino acid, and your body needs it every day.
Just want to say one more thing before you go on to the immune system. That just know that's great for excess estrogen dominance in women and hormone. Great for the liver, and it does also help bring oxygen to the lungs as well, just like cordyceps.
That's why I put it on my list.
Yay! I'm sorry, I'm geeking out.
No, I love it. Wait till I say the next one. The next one is berberine. It is absolutely a miracle herb. It treats high blood pressure. It controls blood sugar. It'll balance your cholesterol. It will help you with migraines and hormone imbalances. Yeah, there it is, right there.
I have it.
It's anti-parasitic. It's anti-fungal. All the things. It's in the.
It's very bitter, you guys. Remember when I talk about that bitter herb? That's the one. Ugh. But now, I get it down.
If you have mine, Miss Kathy, it comes in a capsule, so you won't taste it.
Oh, I taste it.
We also use golden seal and astragalus.
Yep, golden seal family to berberine.
Yep. Yeah. And andrographis is very, very important.
Yeah.
But here's my favorite. There's two favorites.
Okay.
Black cumin seed oil is extremely important, especially for fighting and killing cancer cells that grow in our body every day. And more importantly, there's one called Alma or Alma, A-L-M-A. It's Indian gooseberry. And it is amazing for viral infections and for pretty much everything else in your immune system. It helps fight the bug, and it helps build your immune system.
That's awesome.
Last but not least, everybody forgets about zinc and vitamin C.
Oh, not me.
Zinc, you have to be careful not to take too much zinc.
I probably do.
With vitamin C, especially if it's liposomal, you can take that every 4 or 5 hours, and it will do wonders for your body.
Now, I take a lot of zinc, but I also have chlorophyll that I take too.
Chlorophyll is good too.
Yeah.
On zinc, there is an upper limit, and it is one of the upper limits that we as functional medicine doctors agree with.
Okay.
If you get too much zinc, it actually starts doing the opposite of what you originally started taking it for.
Okay.
So if you're actively sick, we do up to 50 milligrams twice a day. But if you're not actively sick, it should be maybe 20 to 30 milligrams a day.
Oh, then I need to stop taking it then.
Yours is 25 milligrams, Kathy.
Well,
one pad is 25
I
milligrams.
take about 2 every time, and I take them about
Right.
twice.
Why she do that? Y'all, I did not inform her to do that. She just be doing stuff on her own. She just be doing
Hey,
stuff on her
And
own.
I
I
also
said,
have zinc in my green juice, so I don't even know why I'm taking the.
so
But I don't feel any bad effects.
every patient I've ever treated thinks that when I say take 2 a day, and if it's good, they think if they take more, it's better. This is not one of those cases. You
I was
can
just
get,
doing it to boost my immune system.
yes, but you can make your immune system tank.
Okay, I'll do better.
Okay.
"Ah."
Crystal's
Well,
dying.
okay, so my zinc also has oregano in it. Isn't that right? And what
Yes.
herb is in our
Yeah, it
zinc?
has alfalfa in it
Also,
and
yeah, so I'm
thyme.
taking it for all the good stuff. The thyme, I mean, you can smell it when you open it up. It smells great. It smells like I'm about to make some Italian dish over here.
I do want to add something.
Okay,
There are
sorry.
3 other nutrients that we use. We use oil of oregano and garlic oil and olive leaf extract, but people get those confused. They do not boost your immune system directly. They directly kill microorganisms as natural antibiotics,
Mhm.
but
Okay,
they don't support your immune system. They
okay,
can free up your immune system and
okay.
give your soldiers a chance to rest and maybe go fight a different battle in a different part of your body. So people think it boosts their immune system, but it's actually just killing the microorganisms,
Okay, that's good. Okay,
including
Crystal,
parasites, since we
before
mentioned
we end
parasites.
this though, Crystal, I want you to please tell people about the garlic enema. I know it's hard for people to hear, but this is extremely important, you guys, that you hear this remedy. It is so amazing. I have never had to use it, but I've heard that it works great on people. So please talk about garlic enema.
And don't
Oh, go
forget
ahead, doctor.
Yeah.
coffee enemas too.
Oh yeah, that's another thing as well. Yep. Yep.
Okay.
We call it upside down coffee. um. Anyways, uh, the garlic enema, herbalists have used this throughout years with themselves, their clients, however they want to, use it on. I've used it with my daughter, and I've had clients use it with their children as well. Most of the time and then I've had my older clients use it during COVID to help the bacterial antiviral infection. So what happens is we take about 7 garlic cloves, organic, of course. We put it in a cup of hot water in the blender. We blend it all up, let it steep for about as long as it takes till it, gets to room temperature.
Mm-hmm.
Then you strain it out, strain all the garlic out, keep the garlic water. You can use an enema bag, or if people don't have that, some people have big like bulb syringes that you would use usually to suck out the snot of a baby, but you can get a big bulb syringe and put it in that way. Make sure you lubricate the anus and make sure you lubricate the end of the bulb or the end of the enema bag, so easy lubricate, easy in going in and out.
Insertion.
Yeah, and make sure you look up instructions on how to do that. You don't want to damage anything, and maybe ask a nurse if you need to. But anyways, we just slowly put the garlic water up the colon, and we usually lay on the after it's up there, we'll lay on the left side, the back, the right side, and let it go all the way around the colon. And they try to hold it in as long as possible, basically. And as if you know this, your colon is where we absorb most of our nutrients, where we absorb everything. So the fastest way to kill some kind of infection is to basically get to the colon faster and without things dying off. So that's why we do that garlic enema, because it's antiviral, it's antibacterial. It goes in there and it can basically break a fever. My daughter had a fever of 105.6 when she was about 2 or 3 years old, I believe. And it was the first time I had to use the garlic enema. She wasn't able to drink, eat, anything. She just kept throwing up. If we tried to give her even a teaspoon of water, she'd throw it up immediately. It was bad. I got scared because I knew she was getting dehydrated. I knew things were not going very great. And her temperature that's a high temperature, 105.
Very high.
Right. And so I did the garlic enema. And after I did the garlic enema, shortly after, she had like a bowel movement or something. And within 30 minutes, her fever completely broke. And she was able to drink water, and I was giving her liquids and foods finally. next day, within like 24 hours, it's like she never even looked sick. So that's, that's a thing that I use like an emergency to help, bacteria, viral
So
infection.
what she didn't do was give them Tylenol, and they didn't give her any ibuprofen. So I want you guys to hear
Right.
that. And then
Yeah.
Dr. Hollis, we once talked about, I'm sorry, Crystal, but I
Oh.
want to talk to him about this real quickly because in one of the earlier shows, I remember asking you about high fevers and seizures, and you wanted to change that. I was saying it incorrectly. Please explain to me the difference between that. Like, it's not seizuring, it's not seizing in the brain. What exactly is that?
So you mean a febrile seizure?
Yes.
It's an incorrect term. It's not actually a neurological seizure, and it's nothing to technically be scared of. It is scary. It is scary. I've seen it in my own children. What happens when the core temperature reaches a high enough number? It's different for every person, but it's usually 105, 106, or 107. The body will use all of your muscles like a radiator in your car, and it will rapidly contract all of your muscles, and you will shake or convulse, and that bleeds off the heat from your core organs and from your brain. And you should not stop it. You should let it happen.
Wow.
It is not neurological seizing. It's febrile induced muscle stim or muscle spasm. I don't like the word seizure in there at all.
Right.
More importantly, though, nobody wants a fever to get to that high anyway. But as Kathy just said, do not ever break a fever artificially if you can avoid it.
Right. That's
and
what
if you do, don't use Tylenol or ibuprofen, especially in a child. You can cause permanent brain damage and permanent liver and kidney damage.
Right.
So a lukewarm bath, or even just wrapping cold washcloths around the head and around the carotid arteries of the neck, because it's when the brain gets too hot that you can have damage from a fever.
Right.
The organs can handle all the way to 140 degrees. I don't know if you guys knew that.
Right.
No.
But your organs can survive a lot longer than your brain. So we wrap the forehead and the back of the neck, and we wrap the carotid arteries, especially in a child, to help control the temperature of their brain. But the infection is usually down here, and you want that to heat up because that's the body's natural defense to kill that foreign invader.
Right.
And really so how does that tie into the immune system? Real quickly, I know we're running out of time.
It is your immune system.
Okay.
Your white blood cells, your white blood cells release a signal telling your body to increase the temperature, turn up the
virus can't live within a hot, bacteria can live within that hot area.
Yeah.
The only thing of note is if it is confirmed that it's viral instead of bacterial or fungal or mold, you don't have to let those fevers go as high, because it doesn't necessarily work as well as it does against bacteria. But it will still shorten the infection, and it does help kill off the viruses quicker.
Right. And I was just going to say about that garlic enema real quick. It's not that it's killing the fever. Like, her fever broke because it helped her fight that infection. So it didn't it didn't suppress it like Tylenol or Motrin or ibuprofen would. It actually helped fight that infection off, and that's why her fever broke. It wasn't suppressing anything.
So you guys, I hope you heard all that stuff. That is such amazing information. I'm so glad that we brought it back around to the immune system, because all of this is important. If you have a young child and they're really hot and they're going through something, just look up garlic enemas. Call us. We'll be able to talk you through it. And then call us, please.
And on our website, we have 7 ways of boosting your immune system if you want to visit our website at naturalhealth.square.site.
And then, of course, Dr. Hollis is an amazing doctor. Please, please, please get in touch with him, or get to us to get in touch with him. We can do that for you guys. But you guys are so happy to have you here. I don't ever want to let Dr. Hollis go, but he's got to eat lunch and then go back to his patients.
That's right. We need a whole week, not just an hour.
I know. That would be fantastic.
The time that we get with you, it's so special, and we love giving people all this knowledge and sharing your brain with everybody.
Well, one thing that we did today is not scare people when they see that shaking of the body, that the muscles spasming when their children have high fevers. Then they don't, they won't panic like they would have if they didn't know what was going on. Like we did when my niece did that when she was, young and had 103. Her fever wasn't maybe 104.
Yeah.
And we did not know what to do. And so, yeah, that was scary, very scary. But now people know to put them
Right.
down in a lukewarm, bath and let that thing happen, which no one has ever told us.
Don't put them in the bath while they're having the febrile spasms, but
Right.
in order to control the fever before or after, yes.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for clearing that up.
Speaking of spending time with each other, both of you are overdue for your appointments.
You're
I know.
correct.
I need to get in there. I told Kathy that the other day. I was like, I need to get me an adjustment.
Absolutely. And Kathy wanted me to mention that anytime you're sick, especially if it's actively fighting or you've been exposed, a chiropractic adjustment to the spinal nerves will boost the immune system greatly.
Right.
In fact, sometimes it only takes one treatment and people will get over their illness very quickly.
Yeah.
Right.
It's very, very important that people know that the chiropractic adjustment is not just for pain. It affects all the nerves, and the nerves are what guide your immune system.
What everything travels on.
The information superhighway.
Yep.
I
That's right.
absolutely love our bodies. It's just so amazing.
It was the first intranet.
All right. All right.
All right. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for everything, for being on here. And Kathy, I'll let you go ahead and close.
Okay. All right, Dr. Hollis, thank you so much for everything. You're amazing. I love that you keep going to school and teaching us what you've learned. Crystal, you know what you are. You're also amazing too. And I love to hear you guys banter back and forth and just geek out, as she says, because it's so amazing. And we all get that knowledge. Thank you so much for joining us today, everyone out there that is waving hi to us. And I'm so sorry if we didn't get to all of your comments, but you see how it was. It was like badminton in here. We were just doing all that talking. So thank you guys for joining us. Just remember, health is wealth. And if you are green inside, you are clean inside. Thank you for joining us. We love you guys so much. We'll see you next Wednesday.
Yes, thank you. And happy St. Patrick's Day
Bye.
tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Bye.